But
you say give and take. Do you really do you believe and feel strongly that there will be give and take at the end of the day, or do you think that politics will rule? Because I'd imagine there are some people who just don't want to have the president reelected, so they're going to try to not have him, succeed on any front. I don't know. Is that far-fetched?
That's not far-fetched. I mean, that's what the president, the minority whip in the Senate has stated explicitly that his number one goal is to defeat President Obama. So it's not a far-fetched thing to say at all.
No, it's not far-fetched at all. You're completely right. I think on our side of Pennsylvania Avenue, we're willing to negotiate. The president in the current budget shaved $61 billion worth of spending. He's willing to give and take. Sadly, John Boehner and his colleagues aren't willing to do the same. The president's willing to come to the negotiation table. He sent his top negotiator, Joe Biden, over to the Congress to create some sort of agreement so that we can work on getting a budget that would actually not only invest in America's future and win America's future, but also, create spending cuts that would please House Republicans and Senate Republicans. And sadly, we have senators like Jeff Sessions who are not willing to work with the Gang of Five. We have Tom Coburn who says he's not working with the Gang of Five. We have John Boehner. We have Eric Cantor said it's a non-starter for him. So you just see that there's a disparity in that we're willing to work together to create real bipartisanship solutions, and they're just not.
Well, it's not clear to me. We're in agreement on most issues here. It still, frankly, is not clear to me because the president has not done a good enough job in articulating what his leadership position is. That the kinds of cuts you're talking about are minor. They're not impressive. They're nothing like what we need to accomplish in this country to really put our fiscal house in order. So I think it's slightly disingenuous to say, well, the Democrats are all willing to negotiate and the Republicans aren't. If President Obama wanted to lead on this, he could. He could come out tomorrow and say, you know what I'm going to support? I'm going to support rolling back the retirement age for Social Security by 2 years for people under 50. That by itself would make a huge difference, and it would send a signal that he's really serious about putting things that are painful on the table that are going to really help this. And if he was, in my opinion, if he were a great president on these kinds of domestic issues, he would be showing that kind of leadership, which so far he hasn't.
This is where I disagree. The president has shown that kind of leadership. He's instructed Secretary Gates to cut $100 billion from the defense budget. Those are painful cuts. The fact that we're cutting parts, we're decreasing the size of our defense department, that's a painful cut that the president's been willing to make. On top of that, the president's been willing to put aside a lot of the programs that he said he was going to come in to do in order to make cuts that are going to really help our country grow. So I think he's been willing to make painful cuts. On top of that, the president said he's willing to roll back the Bush tax cuts for the top 2% of Americans. A lot of those top 2% of Americans are some of the president's donors, the people that gave to the president in 2008. And he's willing to say, we have to raise your taxes because it has to be a shared sacrifice. It can't just be a sacrifice on the middle class. It can't just be a sacrifice on the working class. It has to be a sacrifice that is spread across the board. And the president has been very clear that everybody has to make a sacrifice, and he's showed that. Sadly, I just don't feel as though the Republicans are willing to make, or the House Republicans are willing to make those type of painful cuts.